Hey buddies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. This is top 10 games to play first. These are the first 10 games I recommend people to play. Maybe you're very experienced and you've played lots of different games, but these are 10 games I might recommend you play with other people. And there's some reasons behind some of these picks, and I hope you find those of interest, but by all means, I'm very keen to know what your opinions will be as well. So first up, we have got drafts or checkers, you might hear it as. So this is 2-player only. I think for a start, playing a game which is one other person, especially if you're not used to teaching somebody, it might be quite handy to know as well, because it lets you focus on just one individual. And ultimately, one person is going to play white, one person is going to play black or light and dark. And it means that, I guess, if you start or they start, it gives them impotence, some agency to actually decide how they're going to do something. And if you're starting, they can see how they can react and respond. And within a couple of moves, you can actually start seeing about how taking works as well, which is a part of the game as well. It's quite a simplistic game to explain, quite simply, it's an explicit game to talk about as well. Literally, you are just moving. You're moving in the other direction typically, and you're moving by hopping across or moving on space. So on space is typically how it's going to go. Like I said, that's a very straightforward game in my opinion. The second game, let's just stick with something simple, it's chess. So flipping this over, you've now got 4 or so, maybe 5 obviously, including the king and the queen, which are similar, but obviously one can move further than the other pieces. So you've got those plus the pawns. So like with drafts or checkers, you do have a king option as well, whereby you reach the other side and they can come back out again. The same, it's sort of similar in some respect with chess, the difference being just simply trying to capture opponent's pieces. And ideally capture the king is all you need to be doing to win. Yes, you could try and decimate everything else, but no, just capture that king, obviously make sure they're in check and then checkmates, and you can win the game. So slightly more technical, similar duration though, obviously still 2 players, white against black, or obviously light against dark. And I think that kind of game experience you might appreciate as well. There is a to-take move, which is generally recommended in draft/checkers, which you don't have to use in chess. That is definitely not needed. You can add that variant. There's a whole chess variant stuff I've made as well, which you want to check out too. I do recommend it. I have got an abstract strategy playlist, which I do recommend you check out too. And the other thing with chess as well is the fact you've got opening moves you can talk about, which is something which I can very much appreciate with chess. If I was on a desert island, that was the game I'd pick. But at the same time, I think if you have a better player, the trouble is you're likely to see someone use a better opening move to counter whatever you're doing, and therefore you're probably likely to lose. But chess, like I say, is very enjoyable. It's nice, compatible. Everybody should know the rules. I think it's a great premise for other games building off of it in terms of strategy, how things can chain and work with each other. So I recommend chess as your next one. Now the third game is not going to be Go. I'm sure some people might have well anticipated that, but we're going to mix things up a little bit. I'll still talk about a 2-player game, but this time asymmetry. So again, light against dark, but this time the attackers are on the outskirts and they're trying to get in and capture the king. So similar to the last 2 games in some respects, but yes, they're attacking and you're looking to capture the king, whereas white is in the middle and they're trying to escape. So it's an asymmetric game, very different to play, but still 2 players. So in terms of, I guess, complexity, there's not much in it. It's somewhere between those last 2 games. And I recommend you highly check out hotness, including plays, and I've got some playthroughs on the channel, I believe, as well. If I haven't done so, I'll make sure I get that out. But I highly recommend this. Lots of people impressed. Hotness. So you'll see a link through that as well. That's hotness. Check that out too. Okay, next game is something whereby you're more familiar with it. It's definitely appeared on the channel many times, a bit like the other games in some respects. But I've got the deluxe version, but I've got 4 other versions as well behind me, because I own so many copies of it. This is Knock'em specifically deluxe. So the first game in this list involving dice, and the reason why I recommend this game is it's simply you roll dice and you do what it says typically. However, you can pick, do you want to use a 3 on yellow, do you want to use 3 on green, let's say, and then are you again choosing based on the colours what you can pick. There's some agency here. It's not specifically you must do something. You can choose to pass, you can choose to use wild cards, which can lose up points as well. You can choose to cross off stars, which stops you losing points as well. And completing all of one colour gives you a bonus of 5 points or 3 points if you're not the first to do it, at least not in that first turn. So yes, whoever's the first to complete all of one colour or a certain row, they're going to get points, but anyone else the same turn as well gets those points too. Otherwise, you're going to cross a marker off and keep on going and you can still achieve points the other way. Highly recommend you check this one out, but again, getting used to rolling dice, it's not particularly a huge art, but I have seen dice go very far accidentally. That is Knock'em, also known as Encore. So lots of videos on the channel to do with that, including some solo playthroughs. Okay, next up, quite a very different game here, is it's minimum 3 players, and that is Dixit. This is a conceptual game. I was going to say competitive. It's a competitive game too, like all the others so far, but the difference is here is that, yes, you're trying to almost tell a story, try and get people guess your card. So it's a very different kind of game, but there's no shuffling involved. You're just working with what you have. You need to only think, I guess, laterally and just think conceptually, like I said, to try and get your cards out. Again, check out my video for more understandings for the game Dixit. Again, if you're watching this, maybe it's the first time on the channel, as you see, I haven't got any logos to show you relating to any of these games, any of those kind of images. That's purely because by showing it in person, it gives you a bit more physical presence, and the fact that, obviously, check out my other videos for it too. Okay, next up, we're switching up with cards now. This is a trick-taking game. So trick-taking is a wonderful premise in games. It's a hugely popular mechanism in the last few years, but I've been playing it for 20 plus years. And I've got 3 versions of Wizard, in fact maybe 4 now, I think. This is perhaps one of my favourite ones. This is because it comes with 6 extra cards, and it's a Jubilee edition anyway. And I recommend this game because first it's small, compact, you're getting used to holding cards. Some people aren't used to holding cards. It also adds a bit of prediction as well. How well do you think you can do? But in terms of trick taking, yes, you need to make sure that you have the highest value card of a certain suit. That's a certain basic colour or symbol, such as maybe hearts, diamonds, clubs, or spades. And what you need to be aware of is you can have wild cards as well, which can trump those cards, which means you can have something that's more superior. Maybe you've got 4 red cards and someone plays a blue card, but maybe red is a trump suit, which means red is more superior than a standard colour or standard suit, then you can play that. If you know you've got lots of that good, powerful cards, then you can predict higher. So that's why I recommend Wizard, just to add a couple of new things in there for you to be familiar with. Okay, next up, we've kind of got an area control game. I've played this with a 4-year-old who very much liked this game. It does say 8+, and I was just keen to try it out on them. So they're 4 and 3 months of age. And in this particular game, yes, you are just moving your penguins around a board, but you need to make sure it can follow a line. Now, this 4-year-old was trying to curve around bends and stuff, so I was trying to explain that, you know, you can only go in a straight line as far as you like. But what's happening here as area control, because you're going to carve off areas thinking, where do I want to move next? Got various amount of penguins, and you're trying to think, well, which penguin do I move next? So similar with Knock Mal, multiple dice, multiple places you can cross off. It gives you an agency. You don't cross off just one thing. Okay, now we are going to another game with dice, but this time it involves Push Your Luck, which is a bit different to with Knock Mal. And what you're trying to do this time round, which as a kind of area control, because you want to be the first to complete off columns and colours, is you're choosing to go out and grab treasure, but the further you go to grab treasure, the more treasure you grab, the less movement you have. And if you don't get back to the submarine before the air runs out, which happens when you start moving back in terms of your air, then you are going to not get your treasure home. And if you don't have treasure home, you'll not score. Whoever has the best score wins after 3 rounds. So as a bit of Push Your Luck, but involves dice rolling. And yes, it's a very simple game, but there's multiple Push Your Lucks, not just the dice movement, but obviously air as well. So keep an eye on that one. Check out my micro playlist. Now we're back in with dice as well. This time worker placement. We're blocking off a slot, which means other people need to take something different. And maybe do you want to block off space, which means that you may be depriving them of a net benefit as well. So this is a game which does take longer. In fact, it's the longest game on this list, taking around, I'd say, 60 to 90 minutes. So it gives you a bit more duration, a bit more stamina, I guess. But in terms of options where you can move to, you can choose to get more people. The downside of more people is you need to feed them, which means you might lose some points. But the positive is you have more actions. So it's all about more actions you can take. You can use actions such as getting axes. And axes allow you to actually modify your dice results as well. And also you can choose to get resources. And resources are very important to help you get points to do with getting huts and various other things too. So that is Stone Age. It adds a worker placement element, one of the simpler worker placement games. One of my favourite mechanisms, and it's a very popular mechanism, and I recommend that is something you see if they like amongst your group too. So next up we have Micro Macro. This is a very different game. This is, again, lots of different choices I could have put in this top 10, but I thought I went to quite different things. Firstly, you can play it solo. So maybe, again, if you're playing a game and you want to try games by yourself first, say how much you like board games, try it out Knock Mal, because you can play it solo. You can also play this solo too. And what you can do here is you're basically trying to find a mystery and figure it out through cards and look all across the map and find stuff like Where's Wally, or if in the States it's Where's Waldo. And that's because they have the rights to Where's Wally somewhere else. That's why Wally came first. So this is what you're trying to do, move around the map. And again, this comes with 15 odd cases. I've got lots of different boxes. I've got all the boxes, in fact. So check out all my videos compared to my comparison videos too. So if you like this one, check out that too, plus some bonus content I've got as well. Also coming soon, so keep an eye on that by liking, subscribing, and hit the notification bell. And of course, comment, let me know what your thoughts are on this. Also the podcast, TikTok, Instagram, threads, etc., relating to more content as well. Well, that's it. That is 10 games I recommend you try first, or at least teach or show to other people, and see whether or not that might be something in terms of the world of board games. And of course, check out my other content on what they might be interested in afterwards. Okay, well, thanks so much for watching, but for now, back to the table.